So I painted High Marshal Helbrecht this week, not completely, just his non-metallic metal armour. I'm going to be painting the rest of the army in regular metallics. It's unusual for me to mix mediums like that. I try and either do a whole army one way or the other. But so many people have requested the recipe for his armour, I thought I'd just jump on here and do a tutorial. So let's get into it. Got my little notepad here. Essentially, we are starting off with a base coat of Pro Acryl Ben Comet's Advanced Flesh Tone, and we're going to be using 2 parts of that. AK Medium Rust, I'm going to be using 2 parts of that, and then Mahogany from Pro Acryl. It's kind of just a kind of half a part, really, just a tiny little dab in there just to darken it down ever so slightly. And we're going to be doing 2 coats of this thinned down, about 50-50 with water. I'm going to be doing 2 coats of that all over the model just to get a really strong base coat. That's one of the most important things really about this effect, is that the whole base coat needs to be solid, smooth and consistent. So if you need 3 coats, then do a 3rd coat. If you need 4, do 4. Just make sure it's thin, smooth and consistent. Do not start adding glazes and stuff until the entire of that armour is completely smooth. Next up, we're going to be going in with the Mahogany from Pro Acryl, and we're going to be diluting this with about 4 parts water to 1 part paint. And then you just dab your brush on a little bit of tissue paper, kitchen roll, whatever, just to absorb a lot of the paint out of it so it's not too loaded. And then we're going to be running that into all of the recessed areas. So this would be called like a recessed shade or a line shade. And we're going to be doing quite a broad recess shade with this. So we're going to be adding it into all of the recesses, and we aren't worrying about getting it like mega fine, because we're going to be darkening it down even more after that. So once you've gone around the armour, you've panel lined everything with that mahogany glaze, and you've gone into your recesses around like the foot and the ankle, stuff like that. We're going to be using then that to glaze in some shadows as well on the armour panels, but not too much. And then we're going to be adding black to the mahogany. I was using Pro Acryl coal black, but this one here isn't specific at all. You could put Citadel, Abaddon black, whatever, any black you want really, just into this 1 part to 1 part, just to darken it down enough so that will make that really dark recess shade that will give us our high contrast, which is what we need to sell this effect. Next up, we're going to be using our base mix again, so that's Pro Acryl Advanced Flesh Tone, AK Medium Rust and Mahogany from Pro Acryl, the original recipe, and we're going to be adding 1 part of Iyanden Yellow contrast paint into that, and that's going to give us a yellowy orangey tone that you'll be able to see in the armour. And then we're going to be adding just a touch of Dawn Yellow, really not enough to make a huge difference, but it's just going to give us that tiny little step up. And then this is going to be somewhere between a layer and a glaze, so roughly 2 parts water to 1 part paint overall through the whole mix. So we don't want it as thin as the glaze previously, but we want it, thin enough that it's going to be smooth. And this is where we're going to go through and we're going to add all of our highlights, and you're going to work out where you want your bright points of your armor and everything like that. This is something I won't be teaching today. I'm not going to go into light theory because it would be a 2-hour video. So you can either copy directly where I've put my highlights, or you can look at a metallic one painted from Games Workshop or something like that and look where the light naturally reflects off theirs. That is another option. But basically, yeah, that we're just going to be doing the recipe today. Once you've done that, this is where it's becoming a bit more organic. I'm then just adding a little bit more Dawn Yellow into that mix, maybe another 1 part into that base coat mix again, and thinning it down nice and thin. So we are back to kind of 4 parts water, 3 to 4 parts water to 1 part paint here, and we're just going to be glazing them highlights up. Make sure you don't load your brush. You shouldn't, as you run your brush over the model, you shouldn't get any pool in here. So if you're getting pool in, you need to get a bit of kitchen roll, you need to load your paint up, dab it on the kitchen roll, and that will absorb the excess paint. And then it's very thin layers, very fast drying as well, which is good. It made this recipe very fast. You can either glaze it as smooth as you can if you struggle with smooth glazing, or if you want a more textured look, a bit more grimdark, which is kind of what I went for. I've done a lot of stippling, so you can just stipple it on with the brush really fine and work that into our highlight. Once you've added that Dawn Yellow for the second time, we're then going to be adding some bright Ivory from Pro Acryl into that same mix again. So it's going to be maybe 1 part. This is a very bright, very saturated kind of bone colour, and it will make a massive difference to the mix. So we're trying not to do a massive jump here, but by keeping the paint thin, we can still get that smooth consistency. So we're going to go straight back into it again, and you're going to try and colour in a little bit less of the previous stage of your highlight. So you're wanting to cut those highlights in to just be a little bit finer, and a lot of this is going to be edge highlighting as well. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people don't like that, but this is going to be what you need to do for your non-metallic metal. You need to have kind of bright edges as well, where the light reflects. So make sure and do your nice smooth edge highlights. And then the final stage is going to be adding more bright Ivory from Pro Acryl. So as that original mix has blended through the Dawn Yellow stage into the bright Ivory stage, and then this final bright Ivory stage, it is almost pure bright Ivory now. So you're retaining those previous colours from the palette. So that is giving you consistency through that entire tone. So you aren't kind of jumping stages from kind of like, reddy brown into yellow into white or ivory. Just keeping mixing it into that base mix is giving you the consistency through, which is again going to help with the smoothness and help with the effect. So once you've done that bright Ivory stage, the final one, we're just going to do really refined highlights, a little bit of stipple or just some really fine glazing, and that will be your armour complete. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you everyone who requested it. If you want to see anything else from me, feel free to put it in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. That would really help me out, please. And then hit the bell icon so you get notifications next time I upload. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.